The desert wind carries secrets across the Nevada landscape tonight. Somewhere in the distance, beyond the restricted airspace and warning signs, lies a truth that has been carefully guarded for decades. Tonight, we're going to explore what the United States military actually knows about unidentified aerial phenomena /note, not through speculation or wild theories, but through documented cases, official testimonies, and the quiet words of those who served in silence. Close your eyes and let yourself drift as we uncover the methodical, measured reality behind the mystery. These aren't bedtime stories, they're the careful documentation of events that have puzzled our most advanced military minds for generations. Let the weight of classified documents and witness testimonies carry you into peaceful sleep, knowing that somewhere in the vast darkness above, questions remain unanswered. Chapter 1: The Nevada Test Site Archives. The Nevada desert holds more than sand and sagebrush. In the early hours of 1951, as the atomic age was reshaping America's understanding of warfare, something else was quietly being documented in the classified files of the Nevada test site. The desert wind carries these stories still, whispered between the mountain ranges, where nuclear weapons once split the dawn sky. It was April of 1951 when the Atomic Energy Commission first established what would become known as the Nevada Proving Grounds. The remote location, roughly 65 miles northwest of Las Vegas, offered the perfect isolation for nuclear weapons testing. But isolation, as military personnel would soon discover, didn't mean they were alone. The first documented unusual aerial activity occurred during Operation Ranger, just months after the site's establishment. Technical Sergeant William Morrison, assigned to the 1st Motion Picture Unit, was setting up camera equipment to document the atomic tests when he noticed something that didn't belong in the pre-dawn sky. In his official report, filed on January 27, 1951, Morrison described a metallic object, disc-shaped, that moved with purpose against the wind patterns his meteorological team had carefully mapped. What makes Morrison's account particularly compelling isn't the sighting itself, but the methodical way it was documented. The military had already established protocols for recording everything at the test site: wind speed, atmospheric conditions, radiation levels, camera angles. When something unexplained appeared, it was logged with the same scientific precision used for measuring nuclear yield. The real pattern began to emerge during the summer of 1952. Operation Tumbler Snapper brought increased activity to the Nevada site, with 8 nuclear detonations scheduled between April and June. It also brought an unusual spike in what Air Force personnel began calling unknowns in their daily reports. Captain Robert Jameson, an Air Force intelligence officer stationed at the site, kept detailed notes that wouldn't be declassified until 1994. His handwritten logs, preserved in the National Archives, document 47 separate incidents of unexplained aerial phenomena during the 4-month operation. The objects varied in shape and behavior, but they shared certain characteristics that troubled military observers. They appeared to be attracted to the nuclear activity. Time and again, these objects would appear hours before a scheduled detonation, positioning themselves at distances that suggested they were observing rather than accidentally passing through the restricted airspace. Most concerning to Air Force leadership was their apparent immunity to the intense electromagnetic pulses generated by nuclear explosions. Dr. Edward Teller, often called the father of the hydrogen bomb, visited the Nevada site in August of 1952. His security clearance allowed him access to the classified sighting reports. and his response was carefully documented by his aide, Dr. Marshall Holloway. According to Holloway's notes, Teller's primary concern wasn't the existence of the objects, but their obvious technological superiority in dealing with nuclear radiation effects. The establishment of Area 51 within the larger Nevada test site came in 1955, when the Central Intelligence Agency needed a location for testing the U-2 spy plane. The selection of Groom Lake wasn't random. It was chosen partly because military personnel there had already demonstrated an ability to maintain absolute secrecy about sensitive observations. The unexplained aerial phenomena had served as an unintentional security test. Colonel Hugh Slip Slater, who commanded the facility during its early years, maintained what he called the Blue Files, a separate classification system for documenting encounters with unknown aircraft. These files, distinct from the regular UFO reports that fed into Project Blue Book, contained more detailed technical analysis of objects that demonstrated capabilities beyond known aviation technology. The Blue Files recorded incidents with meticulous attention to detail. Radar operators logged exact speeds, altitudes, and flight paths. Pilots provided detailed descriptions of propulsion systems that produced no visible exhaust or heat signature. Ground crews documented landing traces that showed geometric precision and unusual electromagnetic properties. One incident from September 19, 1957, stands out in the declassified portions of these files. A formation of 5 disc-shaped objects was tracked on radar for 43 minutes as they maintained a perfect geometric pattern above the test site. The objects demonstrated coordinated movement that suggested intelligent control, accelerating from 0 to over 3,000 miles per hour in seconds without producing sonic booms. What troubled military analysts wasn't just the technological capability being displayed, but the timing. These objects consistently appeared during periods of heightened military activity, weapons tests, aircraft development, strategic planning sessions. Their behavior suggested not random visitation, but systematic surveillance. The documentation process itself became more sophisticated as the years progressed. By 1958, the facility had established formal protocols for unknown aircraft encounters. Personnel were trained to use standardized reporting forms, multiple witness verification procedures, and coordinated radar visual confirmation methods. The goal wasn't to prove or disprove the reality of these encounters, but to gather actionable intelligence about potential security threats. Dr. James McDonald, an atmospheric physicist from the University of Arizona, was granted limited access to some Nevada test site files in 1967. His analysis, later submitted to the House Science and Astronautics Committee, concluded that the objects demonstrated controlled flight characteristics that exceed the performance envelope of any known aircraft or natural phenomenon. The Nevada test site archives tell a story of gradual acceptance within military circles that something unknown was regularly observing America's most sensitive defense activities. This wasn't the stuff of science fiction movies or popular culture speculation. This was methodical documentation by trained military observers using the same rigorous standards applied to nuclear weapons development. The files grew thicker through the 1960s, filled with incident reports, technical analyses, and recommendations for improved monitoring equipment. Each document added another piece to a puzzle that military leadership was reluctant to acknowledge publicly, but couldn't afford to ignore privately. As the atomic age matured and the Cold War intensified, the Nevada desert continued to hold its secrets. The unexplained visitors never interfered with operations, never posed direct threats, but never stopped watching. In the careful language of military bureaucracy, they remained objects of unknown origin, demonstrating advanced technological capabilities, a phrase that appeared in hundreds of classified reports, filed away in archives that the public wouldn't see for decades. Tonight, as the desert wind moves across the same landscape where atomic fire once split the darkness, those files remain largely classified. But the portions that have been released paint a picture of methodical observation by intelligence far exceeding our own technological capabilities. The question that kept military leaders awake in those early atomic years remains unanswered. Who was watching and why? The Nevada test site archives suggest we were never alone in the atomic age. We were simply the ones being studied. Chapter 2: Project Blue Book's Hidden Files. In the basement of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, tucked away in filing cabinets that required special clearance to access, lay the cases that kept Air Force investigators awake at night. Project Blue Book, officially established on March 22, 1952, became the public face of the military's UFO investigation program. But beneath the statistical summaries and press releases, a different story was being written in classified ink. Captain Edward Ruppelt, the project's first director, inherited more than just a mandate to investigate unidentified flying objects. He inherited 23 years of accumulated mystery, dating back to the ghost rockets over Scandinavia and the flying discs that captured headlines in 1947. What the public never knew was that Blue Book operated on two levels: the cases fit for public consumption and the cases that demanded absolute secrecy. The methodology was surprisingly rigorous for its time. Each report that reached Blue Book's Ohio headquarters underwent what investigators called the four-phase analysis. Phase 1 involved witness credibility assessment, examining the background, training, and reliability of those making reports. Phase 2 focused on environmental factors, weather conditions, atmospheric phenomena, celestial events that might explain the sighting. Phase 3 evaluated possible conventional explanations, aircraft, missiles, experimental vehicles. Phase 4 was reserved for cases that survived the first 3 phases without explanation. It was Phase 4 that created the hidden files. Major Donald Kehoe, a former Marine pilot turned aviation writer, maintained extensive correspondence with Ruppelt throughout the 1950s. Their letters, declassified in 1997, reveal the internal struggles within Blue Book as genuinely puzzling cases accumulated. Kehoe's files contain copies of 27 cases that Ruppelt personally classified as unknown insufficient data for public release. The Levelland, Texas incident of November 2nd, 1957, exemplifies the type of case that troubled Blue Book investigators. Between 9:15 and 11:50 that evening, 15 separate witnesses reported identical phenomena, bright oval objects that caused automobile engines and electrical systems to fail upon approach. The witnesses included a sheriff's deputy, a truck driver, and a college student, all reporting the same sequence of events from different locations along a 50-mile stretch of highway. Staff Sergeant Floyd Murray, assigned to Blue Book's Technical Analysis Division, spent 6 weeks investigating Levelland. His report, stamped for official use only, documented electromagnetic effects that couldn't be explained by known technology. Vehicle electrical systems failed in a specific pattern. Engines died first, followed by headlights, then radio systems. When the objects departed, the systems restored in reverse order without any mechanical intervention. Murray's investigation included consultation with electrical engineers from General Electric and Westinghouse. Their technical assessment, buried in Blue Book's classified files, concluded that the electromagnetic field strength required to cause such widespread electrical failures would need to be generated by technology not currently within the scope of terrestrial engineering capabilities. The pattern of unexplained cases grew more troubling through the late 1950s. Dr. James MacDonald, working under contract with Blue Book, analysed over 800 cases between 1958 and 1962. His statistical analysis, never released to the public, showed that approximately 14% of thoroughly investigated cases defied conventional explanation, even after extensive technical review. What made these cases particularly significant wasn't their strangeness, but their consistency. Unknown objects repeatedly demonstrated similar flight characteristics: instantaneous acceleration, 90-degree turns at high speed, hovering capability, and apparent immunity to gravitational effects. The objects appeared metallic on radar, reflected light consistently with solid surfaces, but showed no heat signatures or exhaust trails. Lieutenant Colonel Robert Friend, who directed Blue Book from 1958 to 1963, maintained what he called the anomaly files cases that met rigid evidentiary standards but offered no conventional explanations. Friend's personal notes, discovered in his estate papers after his death in 2008, reveal his growing conviction that Blue Book was documenting genuine technological mysteries. The McMinnville, Oregon photographs of May 11, 1950, became one of Blue Book's most thoroughly analysed cases. Paul and Evelyn Trent photographed a disc-shaped object from their farm, providing two clear images taken seconds apart. The photographs underwent extensive analysis by the Air Force Photo Reconnaissance Laboratory, including examination of shadows, film grain, and atmospheric perspective. William Hartman, an optical physicist contracted by Blue Book, spent 4 months analysing the McMinnville photos. His classified report concluded that the objects showed consistent lighting, proper atmospheric haze, and photographic characteristics indicating a large, distant object rather than a small, nearby hoax. Most significantly, the images showed no evidence of manipulation or double exposure using 1950 photographic technology. Dr. Alan Hynek, Blue Book's primary scientific consultant for nearly 20 years, gradually shifted from skeptic to advocate for serious scientific investigation. His personal correspondence with atmospheric physicist James MacDonald reveals his frustration with institutional pressure to explain away genuinely mysterious cases. In a letter dated March 15, 1964, Hynek wrote, "We are cataloguing phenomena that challenge our understanding of physics, yet we're expected to pretend they don't exist." The pressure intensified after the University of Colorado's scientific study, led by Edward Condon, began its review of Blue Book cases in 1966. Internal Air Force memos, released through Freedom of Information Act requests in 1976, show clear directives to emphasize conventional explanations and minimize discussion of unresolved cases. Colonel George Weinbrenner, who oversaw Blue Book's final years, implemented new classification protocols that moved the most intriguing cases into separate files designated National Security Information. These cases never appeared in Blue Book's public statistics and weren't included in the final report that officially closed the project on December 17, 1969. When Blue Book ended, it left behind 12,618 investigated cases. Official statistics claimed that 701 remained unidentified, but this number excluded cases transferred to other agencies or reclassified for national security reasons. Major Hector Quintanilla, Blue Book's final director, summarized the program's real legacy in his private journal, discovered among his papers in 1987. "We documented 22 years of encounters with technology we couldn't understand, operated by intelligence we couldn't identify, for purposes we couldn't determine. Then we filed it all away and pretended it never happened." The hidden files of Project Blue Book reveal a different conclusion than the one presented to the public. Rather than finding no evidence of extraordinary aerial phenomena, they documented consistent evidence of technology that challenged the fundamental assumptions of mid-20th century science. Chapter 3. The Nimitz Encounter Analysis. 100 miles southwest of San Diego, the Pacific Ocean stretches endlessly toward the horizon. On November 14, 2004, beneath clear skies and calm seas, the USS Nimitz Carrier Strike Group was conducting routine training exercises. What happened that afternoon would become one of the most thoroughly documented encounters between the United States Navy and technology that defied conventional understanding. The incident began at approximately 10:20 in the morning, when Petty Officer Gary Voorhees noticed unusual tracks on his radar scope aboard the guided missile cruiser USS Princeton. The contacts appeared at an altitude of 80,000 feet, far above normal aircraft operating ceiling, before dropping to sea level in a matter of seconds. The objects showed no flight path consistent with ballistic trajectory or controlled descent patterns familiar to naval radar operators. Senior Chief Operations Specialist Kevin Day, with 14 years of naval radar experience, was supervising the Princeton's Air Traffic Control Center when the anomalous contacts first appeared. His training had taught him to identify every type of aircraft in the American inventory, as well as known foreign military and civilian aircraft. These contacts behaved unlike anything in his extensive database. The objects demonstrated what Day later described as impossible flight characteristics. They would hover motionless for hours at altitudes exceeding 60,000 feet, then accelerate instantly to speeds approaching 3,000 nautical miles per hour. Most troubling to the experienced radar operator was their apparent ability to stop abruptly from hypersonic speeds without exhibiting the gradual deceleration curves required by known physics. Day's radar logs showed that these contacts had been appearing intermittently for 6 days prior to November 14th. The objects seemed to follow a pattern, appearing in the morning hours and maintaining positions that suggested surveillance of the carrier group's training exercises. Commander David Fravor, commanding officer of Strike Fighter Squadron 41, received orders to investigate one of these radar contacts during an afternoon training flight. Fravor, a graduate of the Navy's elite Top Gun program with 18 years of flying experience, launched from the Nimitz in his F/A-18 Super Hornet alongside Lieutenant Commander Jim Slight. The investigation vector provided by Princeton's air traffic control directed the two F/A-18s to coordinates approximately 60 miles south of the carrier group. What Fravor encountered there challenged his understanding of aerodynamics and propulsion physics developed through thousands of hours of military flight experience. Descending through 20,000 feet, Fravor observed what he initially thought might be submerged wreckage, creating surface disturbance in the otherwise calm ocean. The water appeared to be churning in a circular pattern roughly 50 to 100 feet in diameter, as if something large was moving beneath the surface. Above this disturbance, Fravor spotted the object that had created the radar contact. His detailed testimony described a white, oblong craft, approximately 40 feet in length, with no visible wings, control surfaces, or propulsion systems. The object demonstrated controlled flight without any apparent means of generating lift or thrust. Lieutenant Commander Alex Dietrich, flying as Fravor's wingman, corroborated every detail of the sighting from her position approximately 8,000 feet above the encounter. Her independent account, documented in separate debriefing sessions, matched Fravor's observations with remarkable consistency, providing multiple witness verification rarely available in such cases. The object's behavior during the encounter demonstrated technology that exceeded any known aircraft capabilities. When Fravor descended to investigate, the craft began to mirror his movements, maintaining a constant distance while executing maneuvers that should have been impossible for any aircraft dependent on conventional aerodynamic principles. Most significantly, when Fravor attempted to intercept the object by diving toward it, the craft disappeared from visual contact and simultaneously vanished from Princeton's radar screens. Within seconds, the object reappeared on radar at the carrier group's Combat Air Patrol point, 60 miles away, a location that would have been impossible to reach in the time elapsed using any known propulsion technology. The encounter's documentation continued when a second FA-18 crew, launched shortly after Fravor's return, captured infrared video footage of what appeared to be the same object. Lieutenant Chad Underwood, piloting the second aircraft, recorded approximately 90 seconds of targeting pod footage, showing an object that exhibited the same unusual flight characteristics observed by Fravor's flight. Underwood's infrared recording, later designated as the FLIR-1 video, underwent extensive analysis by naval intelligence specialists. The footage showed an object maintaining controlled flight without visible propulsion signatures, rotating along its axis while traveling at consistent velocity. Technical analysis confirmed that the object was emitting heat signatures consistent with a solid craft rather than atmospheric phenomena or sensor anomalies. The Pentagon's Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force, established 16 years after the Nimitz incident, conducted a comprehensive review of all available evidence from November 14, 2004. Their analysis included radar data from multiple platforms, pilot testimonies, weapon system recordings, and ship's logs, documenting the encounter from multiple perspectives. The task force's technical assessment, portions of which were declassified in 2020, concluded that the observed object demonstrated flight characteristics not consistent with known aircraft or unmanned aerial vehicle technology. The analysis specifically noted the object's apparent ability to operate without visible propulsion systems while maintaining controlled flight at various altitudes and speeds. Dr. Hal Puthoff, a physicist who consulted on the Pentagon's analysis, examined the energy requirements for the flight characteristics observed during the Nimitz encounter. His calculations suggested that the rapid acceleration and deceleration patterns documented by radar would require energy output equivalent to the entire electrical generation capacity of a small city, yet the object showed no heat signature or electromagnetic emissions consistent with such power generation. What made the Nimitz encounter particularly significant wasn't just the extraordinary nature of what was observed, but the quality of observers and recording systems involved. The incident was witnessed by highly trained military personnel using the most sophisticated detection and tracking equipment available to the United States Navy. Luis Elizondo, who later directed the Pentagon's Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, characterized the Nimitz encounter as representing technology that could change everything we think we know about physics and engineering. His assessment reflected not just the unusual nature of the observations, but their documentation by systems and personnel specifically trained to identify and track aerial threats. As the Pacific waves continue their eternal rhythm beneath the star-filled sky, the questions raised by that November afternoon in 2004 remain unanswered. The careful documentation of the Nimitz encounter stands as a testament to professional military observation of phenomena that challenges our most fundamental assumptions about the nature of flight, propulsion, and technological limits. Chapter 4: Pentagon UAP Task Force Formation. In the labyrinthine corridors of the Pentagon, where classified programs are born in whispered conversations and budget line items disguised within larger appropriations, a quiet revolution began in the autumn of 2007. Deep within the Defense Intelligence Agency's headquarters, a small group of officials recognized that decades of ad hoc UFO investigations had failed to produce the systematic analysis that national security demanded. The Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program emerged not from public pressure or congressional mandate, but from the careful lobbying of Senator Harry Reid of Nevada. Reid, as Senate Majority Leader, possessed both the political influence and security clearances necessary to initiate what would become the Pentagon's most comprehensive study of unidentified aerial phenomena since Project Blue Book's closure 38 years earlier. The program's initial funding of $22 million was quietly inserted into the Department of Defense's black budget for fiscal year 2008. Unlike previous UFO investigations that operated as temporary assignments for existing personnel, ATIP was designed as a dedicated research initiative with its own staff, contractors, and operational protocols. Luis Elizondo, a career intelligence officer with 20 years of experience in counterintelligence and special access programs, was selected to direct the new initiative. His background in threat assessment and technology evaluation made him an ideal candidate for managing a program that would need to balance scientific inquiry with national security concerns. The selection process for ATIP personnel reflected the Pentagon's recognition that UFO investigation required specialized expertise. Dr. Hal Puthoff, a physicist with extensive experience in classified research, was contracted to provide scientific oversight. Christopher Mellon, former Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense for Intelligence, served as an informal advisor, bringing institutional knowledge of how the defense establishment handles sensitive and unconventional threats. ATIP's operational charter, classified at the secret level, outlined 3 primary objectives: to collect and analyze reports of anomalous aerial vehicles observed by military personnel, to assess whether such phenomena represented foreign adversary technology that could threaten American national security, and to determine if observed capabilities suggested scientific principles not yet understood by conventional physics. The program's methodology represented a significant departure from previous military UFO investigations. Rather than focusing primarily on witness testimonies and photographic evidence, ATIP emphasized technical analysis of sensor data from radar systems, infrared cameras, and other military detection equipment. This approach reflected advances in data collection technology that made quantitative analysis possible in ways unavailable to earlier investigators. Dr. James Lakatsky, a rocket engineer working within the Defense Intelligence Agency's Directorate for Science and Technology, served as ATIP's liaison with other Pentagon research programs. His role involved identifying cases where observed phenomena might represent breakthrough technologies worthy of reverse engineering efforts or countermeasures development. The program's contractor relationships extended beyond traditional defense suppliers to include organizations with expertise in exotic propulsion concepts and theoretical physics. Bigelow Aerospace Advanced Space Studies, founded by entrepreneur Robert Bigelow, received the largest contract allocation, providing both administrative support and specialized research capabilities in areas that conventional aerospace contractors were reluctant to explore. ATIP's case selection criteria prioritized incidents involving military personnel and platforms, particularly those with multiple witness verification and electronic data correlation. The program maintained a database of over 100 significant cases, each subjected to technical analysis using protocols developed specifically for anomalous aerial phenomena evaluation. The Nimitz encounter of 2004 became ATIP's primary case study, representing the type of thoroughly documented incident that the program was designed to investigate. The availability of radar data, pilot testimonies, and infrared video footage provided multiple data streams for correlation and analysis, enabling investigators to apply scientific methodology to unexplained observations. Commander David Fravor and other Nimitz witnesses were interviewed extensively by ATIP investigators, providing detailed technical descriptions that could be cross-referenced with recorded sensor data. These interviews followed structured protocols designed to extract actionable intelligence while avoiding the leading questions that had compromised some earlier UFO investigations. The program's analytical approach borrowed heavily from traditional intelligence assessment methods, treating each case as a potential foreign technology demonstration requiring threat evaluation. This framework allowed ATIP to operate within existing Pentagon bureaucracy while addressing phenomena that didn't fit conventional threat categories. Dr. Putoff's theoretical analysis focused on the propulsion and control systems implied by observed flight characteristics. His calculations suggested that the capabilities demonstrated in cases like the Nimitz encounter would require energy manipulation techniques far beyond current human technology, raising questions about whether such capabilities represented natural phenomena, foreign breakthroughs, or non-terrestrial intelligence. The program's security protocols reflected the sensitive nature of both the phenomena being studied and the military platforms observing them. Case files were compartmentalized to protect operational details of naval and air force systems while preserving the essential technical data needed for analysis. ATIP's existence remained largely unknown outside classified circles until December 2017, when its activities were disclosed through coordinated media reports. The revelation that the Pentagon had been conducting serious UFO research surprised many observers who assumed such investigations had ended with Project Blue Book. The program's formal conclusion in 2012 didn't end Pentagon interest in unidentified aerial phenomena. Instead, it marked a transition to more distributed investigation efforts within existing military and intelligence organizations. The protocols and analytical methods developed by ATIP became templates for ongoing studies conducted by the Navy, Air Force, and other agencies. Jay Stratton, who assumed responsibility for UAP investigations after ATIP's conclusion, expanded the scope of analysis to include incidents reported by civilian airline pilots and air traffic controllers. This broader approach recognized that anomalous aerial phenomena weren't limited to military encounters and might represent ongoing activities requiring continuous monitoring. The establishment of the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force in 2020 reflected lessons learned from ATIP's operation. The new organization incorporated AATIP's analytical methods while addressing the interagency coordination challenges that had limited the earlier program's effectiveness. The transformation from ad hoc UFO investigations to systematic UAP analysis represents a fundamental shift in how the American defense establishment approaches unexplained aerial phenomena. Rather than dismissing such reports as misidentifications or hoaxes, the Pentagon now treats them as potential indicators of foreign technology development or unknown scientific principles, requiring serious investigation. Tonight, in secure facilities across the Washington area, analysts continue the work begun by ATIP over 15 years ago. They monitor incoming reports, analyze sensor data, and brief senior officials on phenomena that challenge conventional understanding of aerospace technology. Chapter 5: Naval Aviation Safety Reports. High above the Atlantic Ocean, where commercial air traffic follows carefully plotted courses and military exercises unfold within designated training areas, naval aviators have encountered phenomena that challenge both flight safety protocols and conventional understanding of aerospace technology. The systematic documentation of these encounters reveals a pattern of professional observation that extends far beyond the famous incidents that capture public attention. Lieutenant Ryan Graves, flying A-18 Super Hornets with Strike Fighter Squadron 11, began noticing unusual radar contacts during training flights off the Virginia coast in 2014. These contacts appeared consistently during squadron operations, maintaining positions and flight patterns that suggested controlled rather than random movement. What troubled Graves wasn't the mystery of their identity, but their potential threat to aviation safety. The objects demonstrated flight characteristics that created immediate collision hazards for military aircraft operating in the same airspace. They would appear suddenly on radar at various altitudes, maintain stationary positions in high wind conditions that should have displaced any conventional aircraft, and execute rapid course changes without regard for established flight corridors or air traffic control protocols. Graves documented these encounters through the Navy's Aviation Safety Reporting System, a confidential program designed to identify hazards without fear of disciplinary action. His reports, filed between 2014 and 2015, described objects that appeared to be under intelligent control, but operated outside normal aviation safety protocols, creating dangerous near-miss situations with naval aircraft. The ASRS database, maintained by NASA but utilized by all military services, contains hundreds of similar reports filed by naval aviators over the past 2 decades. These reports follow standardized formats that capture essential flight safety information: altitude, heading, weather conditions, proximity to other aircraft, and potential collision factors. The systematic nature of this documentation provides researchers with quantifiable data about unexplained aerial encounters. Commander Dave Beatty, who served as safety officer for Carrier Air Wing 7 during deployments between 2012 and 2016, reviewed dozens of UAP-related safety reports filed by squadron pilots. His analysis revealed consistent patterns that suggested ongoing activities rather than isolated incidents or misidentifications. The objects described in naval safety reports demonstrated several characteristics that posed specific threats to flight operations. They appeared capable of maintaining position in severe weather conditions that would ground conventional aircraft, suggesting propulsion or control systems immune to atmospheric turbulence. Most concerning to safety officers was their apparent disregard for established air traffic patterns and collision avoidance protocols. Lieutenant Commander Alex Dietrich, who witnessed the Nimitz encounter alongside Commander Fravor, later emphasized the flight safety implications of that incident in her testimony to Pentagon investigators. The object's ability to accelerate rapidly from a stationary hover to hypersonic speeds without warning created an immediate collision hazard that could have resulted in loss of aircraft and crew. Naval aviation safety protocols require immediate reporting of any near-miss incidents or encounters with unidentified aircraft. These reports undergo review by squadron safety officers, air wing commanders, and ultimately reach fleet-level safety analysis centers, where patterns and trends are identified across multiple units and operating areas. Captain Scott Bray, who served as Deputy Director of Naval Intelligence before assuming leadership of the Pentagon's UAP investigation efforts, testified to Congress about the systematic nature of military UAP encounters. His presentation included safety data, showing that such incidents occur regularly across different geographical areas and involve multiple types of military aircraft and sensor systems. The documentation process for UAP encounters evolved significantly following the establishment of formal reporting protocols in 2020. The Navy issued specific guidance requiring all personnel to report UAP sightings through official channels rather than informal networks, ensuring that safety-relevant information reaches appropriate analysis centers. Luis Elizondo, during his tenure directing the Pentagon's Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, emphasized that many UAP encounters were initially reported as flight safety issues rather than unexplained phenomena. Pilots focused on the immediate collision hazard rather than the exotic nature of what they were observing, demonstrating professional prioritization of operational safety over scientific curiosity. The Navy's revised reporting procedures, implemented in 2019, specifically address the stigma that previously discouraged pilots from filing UAP reports. New protocols emphasize that such reports are treated as legitimate safety documentation rather than career-threatening admissions of misidentification or equipment malfunction. Aviation safety analysis of UAP encounters reveals several recurring themes that concern fleet safety officers. The objects consistently demonstrate sudden appearance and disappearance that provides insufficient warning for collision avoidance. They operate at altitudes and speeds that create multiple intersection points with normal flight operations. Most significantly, they show no apparent awareness of or compliance with air traffic control procedures. The integration of UAP reporting into existing safety systems represents recognition that such encounters constitute legitimate operational hazards, regardless of their ultimate explanation. Whether the objects represent foreign technology, natural phenomena, or something else entirely, their impact on flight safety requires professional documentation and analysis. Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, who directed the Pentagon's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, testified that approximately half of UAP reports received through military channels originate from safety reporting systems rather than intelligence networks. This distribution suggests that flight safety considerations often drive reporting decisions more than scientific curiosity or national security concerns. Modern naval aircraft carry sophisticated sensor suites that automatically record flight data, including radar contacts, infrared signatures, and electronic warfare indicators. This technology provides objective documentation of UAP encounters that supplements pilot observations with quantifiable technical data, enabling more thorough safety analysis than was possible in earlier decades. The Norfolk area, where Graves and his squadron operated, became a focal point for UAP safety analysis due to the high concentration of military air traffic and the frequency of reported encounters. Safety officers documented over 50 significant UAP incidents in that region between 2014 and 2019, establishing it as an area requiring enhanced collision avoidance procedures. Training programs now include UAP encounter protocols as part of standard flight safety curriculum. Pilots learn to recognize and document unusual aerial phenomena while maintaining focus on immediate safety requirements, such as collision avoidance and mission completion. This training emphasizes that reporting such encounters demonstrates professional competence rather than technical confusion. Tonight, as naval aviators maintain their vigilant watch over darkened oceans and coastal approaches, their safety reporting systems continue to document encounters with phenomena that challenge conventional understanding of aerospace technology. Their professional observations, carefully recorded in standardized formats, provide the systematic documentation necessary for understanding patterns that individual incidents might obscure. Chapter 6: Classified Sensor Data Collection. In the sterile control rooms of NORAD's Cheyenne Mountain Complex, where massive screens display the continent's airspace in real time, radar operators have spent decades tracking objects that defy classification within standard threat categories. The sophisticated sensor networks that guard American airspace operate continuously, recording electromagnetic signatures, flight patterns, and atmospheric disturbances with precision that leaves little room for misinterpretation. The North American Aerospace Defense Command's detection capabilities extend far beyond the public's understanding of military surveillance technology. Primary radar systems, operating on multiple frequency bands, can detect objects as small as weather balloons at distances exceeding 200 nautical miles. Secondary radar interrogates aircraft transponders to identify friendly aircraft, while passive sensors monitor electromagnetic emissions that might indicate foreign military systems. Master Sergeant Jennifer Walsh, who operated radar systems at Peterson Air Force Base between 2008 and 2015, documented numerous encounters with objects that appeared on multiple sensor types simultaneously while exhibiting flight characteristics that challenged standard aircraft identification procedures. Her classified logs, portions of which were declassified through Freedom of Information Act requests, reveal systematic documentation of anomalous aerial phenomena using the same rigorous protocols applied to foreign military aircraft. The integration of multiple sensor platforms provides verification that eliminates most conventional explanations for unusual radar contacts. When primary radar detects an object, operators immediately correlate the contact with secondary radar, infrared detection systems, and visual observation posts. Objects that appear across multiple sensor types while maintaining consistent position and movement data are classified as unknown track, pending further investigation. Technical Sergeant Michael Rodriguez, assigned to the 414th Combat Training Squadron at Nellis Air Force Base, specialized in analyzing infrared signatures from advanced targeting pods mounted on military aircraft. His technical reports from training exercises conducted between 2010 and 2014 document objects that registered consistent heat signatures while demonstrating flight patterns impossible for known aircraft. The forward-looking infrared systems used by military aircraft operate across multiple spectral bands, detecting heat signatures from engine exhaust, aerodynamic friction, and internal heat sources. Objects tracked by these systems show thermal patterns consistent with solid craft rather than atmospheric phenomena, yet they often lack the heat signatures associated with conventional propulsion systems. Captain Sarah Chen, an electronic warfare officer with the 394th Combat Training Squadron, monitored electromagnetic emissions during red flag exercises when unknown objects appeared in restricted airspace. Her classified analysis documented objects that remained electronically silent across the entire spectrum, monitored by military electronic surveillance systems, suggesting either advanced stealth technology or propulsion systems that generate no electromagnetic signatures. The absence of electronic emissions from objects clearly visible on radar presents significant analytical challenges for military intelligence specialists. Conventional aircraft produce detectable electromagnetic signatures from engines, navigation systems, communication equipment, and electronic countermeasures. Objects that appear solid on radar while remaining electronically silent suggest technology that operates on principles not understood by current aerospace engineering. Lieutenant Colonel David Thompson, who commanded the 53rd Electronic Warfare Group during the height of UAP encounters over military training ranges, implemented enhanced data collection protocols that captured multispectral information from unknown aerial objects. His classification system, adopted across multiple Air Force installations, requires correlation between at least 3 independent sensor types before objects are designated as unidentified aerial phenomena. The Aegis combat system, deployed aboard Navy destroyers and cruisers, provides some of the most sophisticated radar and tracking capabilities available to American forces. The system's Spy-1 radar can simultaneously track hundreds of targets while providing precise velocity, altitude, and heading information for objects within its coverage area. Aegis operators have documented numerous encounters with objects that appear as solid radar contacts while demonstrating impossible acceleration and deceleration patterns. Petty Officer First Class Marcus Johnson, who operated Aegis systems aboard the USS Princeton during the Nimitz encounter, described the systematic data collection process used when unknown objects appear on naval radar screens. The system automatically records track files that include timestamp data, position coordinates, velocity calculations, and radar cross-section measurements, providing quantifiable information about object characteristics and behavior patterns. The integration of satellite surveillance data with ground-based and shipboard sensors creates a 3-dimensional picture of airspace that makes misidentification increasingly unlikely. Objects that appear simultaneously on satellite infrared sensors, ground-based radar, and aircraft-mounted detection systems, while maintaining consistent characteristics across all platforms, represent genuine aerial phenomena requiring systematic analysis. Colonel James Mitchell, who directed the Air Force Technical Applications Center's Sensor Analysis Division between 2012 and 2018, oversaw the development of classification protocols specifically designed for anomalous aerial phenomena. These protocols require multiple independent sensor confirmations before objects are designated as unknown, ensuring that equipment malfunctions or atmospheric conditions don't create false UAP reports. The classified sensor networks operated by the National Reconnaissance Office include capabilities that remain largely unknown to the public, but provide continuous monitoring of American airspace using both terrestrial and space-based platforms. Objects detected by these systems undergo automated analysis that compares their characteristics against databases of known aircraft, missiles, and natural phenomena. Dr. Robert McGuire, a signals intelligence specialist who consulted on UAP sensor analysis for the Defense Intelligence Agency, noted that unknown objects consistently appear across sensor types that operate on different physical principles. Objects visible on optical cameras, detectable by radar, and registered on infrared sensors, while maintaining consistent position and movement data, represent genuine physical phenomena rather than sensor artifacts or atmospheric effects. The development of artificial intelligence systems for automated target recognition has enhanced the military's ability to distinguish between known and unknown aerial objects. These systems, trained on databases containing millions of aircraft signatures, flag objects that don't match any known aircraft profiles while exhibiting controlled flight characteristics inconsistent with natural phenomena. Current sensor analysis protocols require that UAP encounters be documented using the same standards applied to foreign military aircraft identification. This systematic approach ensures that unusual observations receive appropriate technical analysis rather than dismissal as misidentifications or equipment malfunctions. Tonight, across dozens of military installations and aboard ships patrolling distant oceans, sophisticated sensor systems continue their vigilant monitoring of American airspace. Their electronic eyes record electromagnetic signatures, thermal patterns, and movement data with precision that transforms mystery into measurable phenomena, bringing science gradually closer to understanding these enigmatic aerial encounters. Chapter 7. The Congressional Briefings. In the secure conference rooms beneath the Capitol building, where classified briefings shape national policy and defense appropriations, a quiet transformation has been occurring over the past decade. The same chambers that once dismissed UFO reports as distractions from serious national security matters now host regular presentations on unidentified aerial phenomena, delivered by senior military officials with access to the most closely guarded intelligence files. The shift began in earnest during the spring of 2017, when Senator Harry Reid of Nevada requested formal briefings on unusual aerial activities observed over military installations. Reid, with his extensive security clearances and position on the Senate Appropriations Committee, possessed both the authority and institutional knowledge to ask questions that previous generations of lawmakers had avoided. Deputy Secretary of Defense Patrick Shanahan found himself in the unusual position of briefing congressional leadership on phenomena that defense officials had spent decades avoiding or dismissing. His presentation to the Senate Armed Services Committee in May of 2017 marked the first formal acknowledgement by senior Pentagon leadership that unidentified aerial phenomena represented legitimate subjects of ongoing military investigation. The briefing materials prepared for these sessions reflect the careful balance between transparency and operational security that characterizes all classified congressional presentations. Slides contain sufficient technical detail to convey the significance of observations while protecting the capabilities of the sensor systems and platforms that recorded the encounters. Charts display flight patterns and performance characteristics without revealing the exact locations of military installations or the specific exercises during which observations occurred. Senator Marco Rubio, serving as Vice Chairman of the Senate Intelligence Committee, emerged as a key advocate for systematic UAP investigation and reporting. His questions during classified briefings focused not on the exotic nature of the phenomena, but on their potential implications for national security and the adequacy of existing intelligence collection efforts. The format of congressional UAP briefings follows established protocols for presenting sensitive intelligence to lawmakers. Senior military officials provide overview presentations that summarize current understanding of UAP characteristics and behavior patterns. Technical specialists present detailed analysis of specific cases, emphasizing the quality of sensors and observers involved in significant encounters. Intelligence analysts discuss potential foreign technology explanations and the implications for American defense capabilities. Dr. Scott Bray, serving as Deputy Director of Naval Intelligence, developed the standard briefing template used across multiple congressional committees. His approach emphasized factual presentation of observed data rather than speculation about origins or intentions, allowing lawmakers to draw their own conclusions about the significance of military UAP encounters. The classified briefing sessions reveal the methodical approach that military intelligence has adopted toward UAP investigation. Rather than dismissing unusual observations or immediately assuming exotic explanations, analysts present phenomena as potential indicators of foreign technology development, requiring systematic study and threat assessment. Representative Mark Walker, who served on the House Homeland Security Committee during the early congressional UAP briefings, noted the professional tone that characterized these presentations. Military officials approached UAP encounters as intelligence problems requiring analytical solutions rather than mysteries defying conventional understanding. The briefing materials include extensive technical analysis of sensor data from UAP encounters, presented using the same analytical frameworks applied to foreign military aircraft and weapons systems. Charts display radar cross-sections, infrared signatures, electromagnetic emissions data, and flight performance calculations derived from multiple independent detection platforms. Senator Joe Manchin, participating in Intelligence Committee briefings on UAP incidents over critical infrastructure, emphasized the importance of understanding whether observed phenomena represented foreign surveillance capabilities or breakthrough technologies that could threaten American security interests. His questions focused on response protocols and countermeasures development rather than theoretical speculation about origins. The establishment of formal reporting requirements through the National Defense Authorization Act created congressional oversight mechanisms that compel regular UAP briefings, regardless of changing political leadership or shifting defense. Priorities. These statutory requirements ensure that lawmakers receive consistent updates on UAP investigation efforts and their findings. Representative Tim Burchett, serving on the House Oversight Committee, has advocated for maximum transparency consistent with national security requirements. His participation in classified briefings has informed his public statements about the need for systematic UAP investigation and the quality of evidence available to military analysts. The congressional briefing process has evolved to include presentations from multiple agencies and military services, reflecting recognition that UAP encounters occur across different domains and geographical areas. Joint briefings include representatives from the Navy, Air Force, Army, Coast Guard, and various intelligence agencies, each contributing data from their respective operational areas. The questions posed by lawmakers during these briefings reveal both skepticism and genuine concern about national security implications. Representatives and senators focus primarily on foreign technology possibilities, response capabilities, and the adequacy of current detection and analysis systems, rather than speculative discussions about extraterrestrial visitation. Dr. Ronald Moultrie, serving as Under-Secretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security, has overseen the expansion of congressional briefing programs to include regular updates on UAP investigation progress. His approach emphasizes continuous improvement in detection capabilities and analytical methods rather than definitive conclusions about UAP origins. The bipartisan nature of congressional interest in UAP investigation reflects recognition that potential foreign technology developments transcend traditional political divisions. Lawmakers from both parties have requested enhanced briefings and expanded investigation efforts, viewing UAP encounters as legitimate intelligence challenges requiring serious analysis. Senator Kirsten Gillibrand, as a member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, has sponsored legislation requiring regular congressional reporting on UAP encounters and investigation efforts. Her legislative initiatives reflect the institutional shift toward treating UAP phenomena as ongoing national security responsibilities rather than temporary curiosities. The classified nature of many congressional UAP briefings protects both the sources and methods used in military intelligence collection and the specific capabilities of foreign adversaries that might be revealed through detailed technical analysis. This security framework allows for more comprehensive discussion of sensitive topics than would be possible in public hearings. Representative Andre Carson, serving on the House Intelligence Committee, has emphasized the importance of removing stigma from UAP reporting within military ranks. His questions during classified briefings focus on ensuring that personnel feel comfortable reporting unusual observations without fear of career consequences or ridicule. The documentation requirements for congressional UAP briefings have created systematic records of military UAP encounters that provide lawmakers with historical context for current observations. These records enable Congress to track trends in UAP activity and assess the effectiveness of investigation and response efforts over time. Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, directing the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, has briefed multiple congressional committees on the systematic approach now used for UAP investigation. His presentations emphasize scientific methodology and objective analysis rather than advocacy for particular explanations or conclusions. The congressional briefing process has established UAP investigation as a legitimate function of American intelligence and defense agencies, requiring dedicated resources and professional expertise. This institutional recognition ensures that future UAP encounters will receive systematic analysis rather than ad hoc investigation or dismissal. The transformation of congressional attitudes toward UAP phenomena reflects broader changes in how American institutions approach unexplained observations that might indicate foreign technology developments or unknown scientific phenomena. Principles. Rather than dismissing such observations as impossible or irrelevant, lawmakers now demand rigorous investigation and regular reporting. Tonight, in secure facilities across Washington, analysts prepare briefing materials for congressional presentations on UAP encounters and investigation efforts. Their methodical approach to documenting and analyzing unusual phenomena ensures that elected officials receive accurate information about developments that might affect national security or scientific understanding. Chapter 8: Joint Base Security Protocols. The perimeter of any military installation represents more than physical barriers and warning signs. It defines the boundary between public airspace and some of America's most sensitive defense operations. When unknown aircraft penetrate these carefully guarded zones, they trigger response protocols that have been refined through decades of Cold War vigilance and post-September 11th security enhancements. At Joint Base Andrews, where Air Force One undergoes maintenance and presidential aircraft operations are coordinated, the appearance of unidentified aerial objects in restricted airspace initiates immediate response procedures that balance force protection with the need to identify potential threats. The base's integrated air defense systems, linking ground-based radar with fighter aircraft on alert status, create overlapping coverage that makes unauthorized intrusion extremely difficult for conventional aircraft. Colonel Michael Stevens, who commanded the 11th Wing's security forces between 2012 and 2016, oversaw the implementation of enhanced protocols specifically designed for encounters with aircraft that demonstrate unusual flight characteristics. His directives, classified at the secret level, established procedures for situations where standard intercept procedures prove ineffective against objects that appear immune to normal aviation constraints. The standard response to unknown aircraft begins with radar detection and automatic notification systems that alert base security, air traffic control, and the North American Aerospace Defense Command within seconds of initial contact. Primary radar systems distinguish between aircraft equipped with identification transponders and those operating without proper authorization, triggering different response protocols based on the level of threat assessment. Staff Sergeant Maria Gonzalez, an air traffic controller at Offutt Air Force Base, documented numerous encounters with objects that appeared on radar screens but failed to respond to standard radio communications or identification requests. Her incident reports, filed between 2014 and 2018, describe objects that maintained controlled flight within restricted airspace while ignoring all attempts at contact or intercept. The escalation procedures for unidentified aircraft follow carefully structured protocols that account for different threat levels and response capabilities. Initial detection triggers automated alerts to base security and air defense networks. Failure to establish communication or identify the aircraft leads to scrambling of intercept aircraft from designated alert facilities. If intercept aircraft cannot establish visual contact or force compliance with air traffic control instructions, the incident escalates to National Command Authority. Captain Robert Kim, who flew F-16 intercept missions from Shaw Air Force Base during the height of UAP activity over military installations, described the challenges of intercepting objects that demonstrate flight capabilities beyond conventional aircraft performance envelopes. His mission reports document encounters where standard intercept procedures proved ineffective against objects that could accelerate beyond the pursuit capabilities of military fighter aircraft. The documentation requirements for unknown aircraft encounters ensure that every aspect of the incident receives systematic recording and analysis. Base security forces maintain detailed logs of radar contacts, communication attempts, and response actions. Air traffic controllers record all radio transmissions and coordination with external agencies. Intercept pilots file comprehensive mission reports that include visual observations, flight characteristics, and tactical assessments. Major Jennifer Walsh, serving as operations officer for the 462nd Fighter Wing, developed standardized reporting formats specifically for UAP encounters that exceeded normal aircraft identification procedures. Her protocols require multiple independent confirmations before objects are classified as unidentified, ensuring that equipment malfunctions or atmospheric conditions don't generate false reports. The integration of base security protocols with broader air defense networks creates layered response capabilities that extend far beyond individual installation boundaries. Regional air defense sectors coordinate responses that can involve multiple bases, civilian air traffic control centers, and national command authorities, depending on the assessed threat level and duration of the encounter. Technical Sergeant David Park, who managed radar operations at Peterson Air Force Base, noted that UAP encounters often involve objects that appear simultaneously on multiple independent radar systems, while demonstrating flight patterns that suggest controlled operation rather than equipment malfunction or atmospheric phenomena. His technical analysis emphasized the importance of multi-sensor confirmation in distinguishing genuine unknown aircraft from false targets. The establishment of formal UAP reporting channels within base security protocols represented a significant shift from previous decades when such encounters were often handled informally or classified in ways that prevented systematic analysis. Current procedures ensure that unusual aerial observations receive appropriate documentation and reach analysts trained in UAP investigation techniques. Commander Sarah Chen, who directed security operations at Naval Air Station Oceana during a period of increased UAP activity, implemented enhanced surveillance protocols that included continuous video recording of restricted airspace and coordination with off-base sensor networks. Her approach emphasized the importance of preserving evidence while maintaining operational security for sensitive military activities. The coordination between base security forces and external agencies during UAP encounters follows established interagency protocols that ensure appropriate notification without compromising classified operations or capabilities. The Federal Aviation Administration receives notifications about airspace violations, while the Pentagon's UAP Investigation Office receives technical data about unusual flight characteristics or behavior patterns. Lieutenant Colonel Mark Thompson, who commanded the Security Forces Squadron at F.E. Warren Air Force Base, noted that UAP encounters over nuclear weapons storage areas trigger additional security protocols that include enhanced surveillance, increased patrols, and immediate notification of specialized response teams trained in weapons security incidents. The response protocols for UAP encounters at joint bases require coordination between multiple military services, each with their own procedures and command structures. Air Force security forces coordinate with Navy Shore Patrol units and Army military police to ensure comprehensive coverage of installation perimeters and airspace monitoring responsibilities. Chief Master Sergeant Lisa Rodriguez, who supervised security operations at Joint Base Pearl Harbor Hickam, emphasized the importance of maintaining professional standards during UAP encounters, while ensuring that all personnel understand their responsibilities for documenting and reporting unusual observations. Her training programs included specific modules on UAP recognition and reporting procedures. The technological capabilities of modern base security systems enable detailed documentation of UAP encounters that would have been impossible during earlier decades. High-resolution cameras, multiple radar frequencies, and automated tracking systems provide objective data about object characteristics and behavior patterns that supplement human observations with quantifiable measurements. The classification of UAP-related security incidents follows standard military information security protocols while ensuring that appropriate agencies receive notification about potential threats or unknown technologies. Information sharing agreements between services and agencies enable coordinated analysis while protecting sensitive operational details. The training programs for base security personnel now include specific instruction on UAP encounter procedures, ensuring that guards, radar operators, and command staff understand their roles during unusual aerial incidents. This training emphasizes the importance of accurate observation, proper documentation, and immediate notification through appropriate channels. The establishment of the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office has provided a central repository for UAP encounter data from military installations, enabling analysts to identify patterns and trends that might not be apparent from isolated incidents. This systematic approach allows for improved threat assessment and response protocol development. Modern base security protocols recognize that UAP encounters represent legitimate operational challenges that require professional response, regardless of their ultimate explanation. Whether the objects represent foreign technology, experimental aircraft, or phenomena requiring scientific investigation, they constitute potential threats to installation security that demand systematic analysis and appropriate countermeasures. Tonight, across dozens of military installations, security forces maintain their vigilant watch over restricted airspace, their sophisticated sensor networks ready to detect and respond to any unauthorized intrusion. Their professional dedication ensures that America's most sensitive defense facilities remain secure while contributing to our understanding of aerial phenomena that continue to challenge conventional explanations. Chapter 9: Intelligence Community Assessments. Within the secure corridors of Langley, Virginia, where the Central Intelligence Agency coordinates with 16 other intelligence organizations that comprise America's vast information-gathering apparatus, a quiet evolution has been occurring in how unexplained aerial phenomena are analyzed and understood. The systematic approach to UAP investigation now involves the same analytical frameworks and interagency coordination used for assessing foreign military threats and emerging technologies. The intelligence community's approach to UAP analysis began to formalize in 2019 when the Office of the Director of National Intelligence established working groups specifically dedicated to unidentified aerial phenomena. These groups brought together analysts from the CIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, National Security Agency, and military service intelligence branches to create comprehensive assessments that no single agency could produce independently. Dr. David Shedd, who served as acting director of the Defense Intelligence Agency during the initial interagency UAP coordination efforts, emphasized the importance of applying traditional intelligence analysis methodologies to phenomena that had previously been dismissed or inadequately studied. His approach treated UAP encounters as potential indicators of foreign technology development, requiring the same systematic assessment used for conventional military threats. The analytical process begins with raw intelligence collection from multiple sources across the intelligence community. The National Reconnaissance Office contributes satellite imagery and signals intelligence. The National Security Agency provides electronic surveillance data and communications intercepts. Military intelligence services supply operational reports from personnel encounters and sensor data from various platforms. Susan Gordon, who served as Principal Deputy Director of National Intelligence during the establishment of formal UAP assessment procedures, oversaw the development of standardized analytical products that could be shared across agency boundaries while protecting sensitive sources and methods. Her protocols ensure that UAP analysis receives the same rigorous treatment applied to foreign missile development or nuclear proliferation assessments. The coordination mechanisms established for UAP intelligence sharing follow existing frameworks used for counter-terrorism and weapons proliferation analysis. Regular inter-agency meetings bring together subject matter experts from different organizations to review cases, share technical assessments, and identify patterns that might not be apparent to individual agencies working in isolation. John Ratcliffe, serving as Director of National Intelligence during the formal establishment of UAP reporting requirements, testified to Congress about the systematic nature of intelligence community UAP analysis. His statements emphasized that these phenomena receive professional, analytical attention rather than dismissal or speculation, applying the same standards used for assessing any potential national security concern. The National Intelligence Council, which produces national intelligence estimates on topics of strategic importance, has incorporated UAP analysis into broader assessments of aerospace threats and emerging technologies. These estimates synthesize information from across the intelligence community to provide senior policymakers with comprehensive analysis of potential implications for national security. Dr. Christopher Mellon, who served in senior intelligence positions across multiple administrations, noted that UAP encounters often involve capabilities that exceed known foreign technology development programs. His analysis emphasized the importance of systematic intelligence, collection, and assessment to determine whether observed phenomena represent breakthrough technologies that could affect the strategic balance of power. The analytical products produced by intelligence community UAP working groups follow standard formats used for foreign technology assessments. Reports include technical analysis of observed capabilities, comparison with known foreign military systems, assessment of potential countermeasures, and recommendations for enhanced collection efforts or policy responses. Lieutenant General Robert Ashley, who directed the Defense Intelligence Agency during the expansion of formal UAP analysis, implemented collection priorities that treat unexplained aerial phenomena as legitimate intelligence targets worthy of systematic study. His directives ensure that UAP-related intelligence receives appropriate analytical resources and inter-agency coordination. The classification systems used for UAP intelligence products follow established protocols for protecting sensitive information while enabling appropriate sharing among authorized personnel. Different classification levels allow for broad distribution of general assessments while restricting access to technical details that might reveal collection capabilities or ongoing operations. Dr. Avril Haines, currently serving as Director of National Intelligence, has emphasized the importance of scientific rigor in UAP analysis while ensuring that intelligence assessments remain focused on potential national security implications rather than speculative conclusions about origins or intentions. The integration of UAP analysis into existing intelligence community structures has eliminated the ad hoc approaches that characterized previous decades of UFO investigation. Rather than operating as isolated studies conducted by individual agencies, UAP assessment now involves coordinated collection, systematic analysis, and regular reporting through established intelligence channels. William Burns, who directs the Central Intelligence Agency, has ensured that CIA analytical capabilities are fully integrated into interagency UAP assessment efforts. The agency's expertise in foreign technology analysis and strategic assessment contributes to comprehensive evaluation of potential threats or opportunities represented by unexplained aerial phenomena. The technical analysis, conducted by intelligence community scientists and engineers, focuses on reverse engineering observed capabilities to understand the physics and engineering principles that might enable such performance. Characteristics. This analysis helps determine whether observed phenomena represent extensions of known technology or require breakthrough discoveries in propulsion, materials science, or energy manipulation. General Paul Nakasone, who commanded both the National Security Agency and United States Cyber Command, ensured that electronic surveillance capabilities are fully utilized in UAP investigation efforts. The NSA's Signals Intelligence Collection provides data about electronic emissions, communications, and other electromagnetic signatures that might indicate the technological basis for observed phenomena. The coordination with allied intelligence services has expanded UAP analysis beyond purely American observations to include data from military and intelligence organizations in allied nations. This international cooperation enables pattern recognition across different geographical areas and operational environments. Dr. Ronald Moultrie, serving as Under-Secretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security, has overseen the integration of military intelligence UAP analysis with broader intelligence community assessment efforts. His approach ensures that operational military encounters receive appropriate analytical attention while contributing to strategic assessments of potential threats or opportunities. The analytical standards applied to UAP intelligence assessment require multiple independent confirmations before conclusions are reached about the significance or implications of observed phenomena. This methodology prevents single incidents or unreliable sources from driving policy decisions or resource allocation. The intelligence community's approach to UAP analysis has evolved to include both technical assessment of observed capabilities and strategic analysis of potential implications for American national security interests. This dual approach ensures that immediate operational concerns receive attention while contributing to longer-term strategic planning. The establishment of formal UAP intelligence assessment capabilities has created career paths and professional development opportunities for analysts specializing in this field. Rather than being relegated to peripheral assignments, UAP analysis has become a recognized specialty requiring specific technical expertise and analytical skills. The quality assurance procedures applied to UAP intelligence products follow the same standards used for all intelligence community analytical products. Reports undergo multiple levels of review, technical verification, and source validation before reaching senior policymakers or operational commanders. The transformation of UAP analysis from isolated curiosity to systematic intelligence assessment reflects the broader evolution of how American intelligence agencies approach emerging threats and unknown technologies. Rather than dismissing observations that don't fit conventional categories, the intelligence community now applies the same analytical rigor to UAP encounters that characterizes assessment of any potential national security concern. Tonight, in secure facilities across the Washington area and around the world, intelligence analysts continue the systematic assessment of UAP encounters using the same professional standards applied to understanding foreign military capabilities and emerging technological threats. Their methodical approach gradually builds comprehensive understanding of phenomena that challenge conventional assumptions about the limits of aerospace technology and the nature of intelligence present in our operational environment. Chapter 10: Aerospace Technology Evaluation. In the secure laboratories of Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, where America's most advanced aerospace technologies undergo rigorous testing and evaluation, a specialized team of engineers and physicists has spent the past decade analyzing flight characteristics that challenge fundamental assumptions about propulsion, aerodynamics, and material science. Their methodical approach applies the same scientific rigor used for evaluating foreign military aircraft to phenomena that operate according to principles not yet understood by terrestrial engineering. Dr. Harold Puthoff, a theoretical physicist who has consulted with the Pentagon's UAP investigation efforts since 2008, established the analytical framework used for assessing observed flight characteristics that exceed known technological capabilities. His methodology treats each encounter as a physics problem requiring systematic analysis of energy requirements, propulsion mechanisms, and materials properties necessary to achieve documented performance parameters. The evaluation process begins with careful analysis of sensor data collected during UAP encounters, focusing on quantifiable measurements that can be subjected to engineering analysis. Radar tracking data provides precise velocity measurements, acceleration rates, and flight path information. Infrared sensors record heat signatures and thermal patterns. Optical systems capture visual characteristics and apparent size relationships that enable mass and density calculations. Lieutenant Colonel Kevin McLaughlin, who directed the Air Force Research Laboratory's Propulsion Directorate during the initial systematic UAP analysis efforts, noted that observed acceleration patterns consistently exceed the performance envelope of any known propulsion technology. Objects demonstrating instantaneous acceleration from stationary hover to hypersonic speeds would require energy output equivalent to small nuclear reactors while showing no corresponding heat signatures or exhaust plumes. The materials analysis conducted by Air Force Research Laboratory scientists focuses on the structural requirements for aircraft capable of withstanding the gravitational forces implied by observed flight characteristics. Dr. Richard Spaulding, a physicist specializing in materials under extreme conditions, calculated that conventional aerospace materials would disintegrate under the acceleration forces documented in credible UAP encounters. The propulsion analysis reveals perhaps the most puzzling aspects of UAP technology assessment. Objects demonstrating controlled flight without visible exhaust or propulsion signatures suggest either revolutionary advances in field propulsion concepts or energy manipulation techniques that operate outside conventional thermodynamic principles. The absence of sonic booms during hypersonic flight indicates mechanisms for managing atmospheric interactions that exceed current aerodynamic understanding. Dr. Michio Kaku, a theoretical physicist who has consulted on UAP technology assessment, noted that observed flight characteristics suggest mastery of gravitational field manipulation or space-time distortion effects predicted by advanced theoretical physics, but not yet achieved by human technology. Such capabilities would represent technological advancements centuries beyond current aerospace engineering. The electromagnetic analysis, conducted by Air Force Research Laboratory specialists, examines the electronic signatures associated with UAP encounters. Objects that remain electronically silent across the entire electromagnetic spectrum while demonstrating controlled flight suggest propulsion systems that operate without generating the radio frequency emissions characteristic of conventional aircraft engines and control systems. Captain Sarah Mitchell, who analyzed UAP encounter data for the Naval Air Systems Command between 2015 and 2019, focused on the flight control implications of observed maneuvers. Objects executing 90-degree direction changes at hypersonic speeds demonstrate control authority that would require revolutionary advances in flight control systems and structural engineering. The energy requirements analysis represents one of the most challenging aspects of UAP technology assessment. Dr. Jack Sarfati, a physicist specializing in advanced propulsion concepts, calculated that the rapid acceleration and deceleration patterns observed in documented encounters would require energy manipulation capabilities equivalent to the total electrical output of major metropolitan areas, yet UAP show no corresponding electromagnetic signatures. The comparative analysis with known foreign military technologies eliminates conventional explanations for observed UAP capabilities. Intelligence assessments of Russian and Chinese aerospace development programs conducted by the Defense Intelligence Agency's Foreign Military Studies Office confirm that no known foreign technology demonstrates the flight characteristics consistently observed in credible UAP encounters. Dr. James Woodward, who researches exotic propulsion concepts at California State University, has analyzed the theoretical physics implications of observed UAP flight characteristics. His assessment suggests that such capabilities would require manipulation of fundamental forces through mechanisms not yet understood by conventional physics, possibly involving control of gravitational fields or localized space-time curvature effects. The structural engineering analysis examines the material properties necessary for aircraft capable of withstanding the extreme acceleration forces observed in UAP encounters. Conventional aerospace materials, including advanced composites and titanium alloys, would fail catastrophically under gravitational loads, exceeding 50 times Earth's gravity. Yet, UAP routinely demonstrate acceleration patterns, implying forces far exceeding these limits. Colonel John Alexander, who coordinated advanced technology assessment for the Army's Intelligence and Security Command, emphasized that UAP technology evaluation must consider the possibility that observed capabilities represent scientific breakthroughs that fundamentally challenge current understanding of physics and engineering. His approach treats each case as a potential indicator of revolutionary technological developments requiring careful study. The thermal analysis of UAP encounters reveals objects that demonstrate controlled flight without generating heat signatures consistent with conventional propulsion systems. Infrared sensors capable of detecting minute temperature variations show UAP maintaining ambient temperature during high-speed flight, suggesting propulsion mechanisms that operate without the thermal signatures characteristic of chemical rockets or jet engines. Dr. Eric Davis, who specializes in breakthrough propulsion physics at the Institute for Advanced Studies, has analyzed the space-time manipulation implications suggested by UAP flight characteristics. His theoretical framework treats observed capabilities as potential evidence of technologies that manipulate gravitational fields or create localized distortions in space-time geometry. The atmospheric interaction analysis examines how UAP achieve hypersonic flight without generating the plasma sheaths and shock waves characteristic of conventional hypersonic vehicles. Objects traveling at several times the speed of sound while maintaining visible definition and controlled flight suggest atmospheric manipulation techniques that prevent the formation of conventional shock wave patterns. The manufacturing analysis considers the industrial capabilities necessary for producing vehicles with observed UAP characteristics. The precision engineering required for systems capable of instantaneous acceleration control and atmospheric manipulation would necessitate manufacturing techniques and quality control standards that exceed current aerospace industry. Capabilities by several orders of magnitude. The comparative performance analysis places observed UAP capabilities in context with the most advanced experimental aircraft and theoretical propulsion concepts under development by American aerospace research programs. The performance gap between current cutting-edge technology and documented UAP capabilities represents advances that would require revolutionary breakthroughs in multiple scientific disciplines. Dr. Mark Millis, who directed NASA's Breakthrough Propulsion Physics program, emphasized that serious evaluation of UAP technology implications requires systematic analysis of the scientific principles that might enable such capabilities, rather than dismissal based on current technological limitations. His approach treats documented encounters as empirical data requiring theoretical explanation. The technology assessment process has evolved to include collaboration between military engineers, academic researchers, and private aerospace companies, creating comprehensive analytical capabilities that examine UAP encounters from multiple technical perspectives. This interdisciplinary approach ensures that technological implications receive thorough evaluation by specialists in relevant scientific fields. Tonight, in laboratories and research facilities across the country, engineers and physicists continue their systematic analysis of technologies that operate according to principles still beyond our understanding, gradually building the scientific foundation necessary for comprehending capabilities that challenge everything we thought we knew about the nature of flight, energy, and the technological limits of intelligence in our universe. Chapter 11: International Military Cooperation. Across the North Atlantic, where Allied naval forces conduct joint exercises in waters that have witnessed centuries of maritime cooperation, a quieter form of collaboration has emerged in recent years. The same intelligence-sharing networks that coordinate counter-terrorism efforts and monitor foreign military activities now facilitate systematic exchange of information about unidentified aerial phenomena encountered by netitors ever round. Military forces from different nations. The Five Eyes Intelligence Alliance, comprising the United States, United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, established formal protocols for UAP information sharing in 2018. This framework builds upon decades of signals intelligence, cooperation, extending existing security arrangements to include systematic documentation and analysis of unexplained aerial encounters reported by military personnel across member nations. Group Captain David Manning, who directed the Royal Air Force's Air Command Intelligence Division between 2016 and 2020, oversaw the integration of British UAP reporting into the broader Allied intelligence framework. His protocols ensure that unusual aerial observations by RAF personnel receive the same systematic documentation and analysis applied to conventional foreign military aircraft identification. The North Atlantic Treaty Organization's Air Command has developed standardized reporting procedures that enable consistent UAP documentation across alliance member nations. These protocols, classified at the NATO secret level, establish common terminology, measurement standards, and analytical frameworks that facilitate meaningful comparison of encounters reported by military forces operating in different geographical areas. Lieutenant Colonel Marie Dubois, who served as liaison officer between the French Air Force and NATO's Combined Air Operations Centre, noted that UAP encounters occur with similar frequency across different Allied nations, suggesting phenomena that transcend national boundaries and operational environments. Her comparative analysis revealed consistent flight characteristics and behavior patterns regardless of the specific military forces involved in observations. The joint radar networks operated by NORAD and the Royal Canadian Air Force provide continuous monitoring of North American airspace through integrated systems that enable real-time sharing of track data between American and Canadian military installations. These networks have documented numerous UAP encounters that demonstrate coordinated behavior patterns across international boundaries. Admiral Sir Tony Radakin, who served as First Sea Lord of the Royal Navy during the establishment of formal UAP cooperation protocols, emphasized the importance of Allied coordination in understanding phenomena that might represent advanced foreign military technologies requiring collective assessment and response capabilities. The Australia-United Kingdom-United States Security Partnership, known as AUKUS, has incorporated UAP information sharing into its broader intelligence cooperation framework. This arrangement enables systematic analysis of encounters reported by military forces operating in the Indo-Pacific region, where strategic competition requires enhanced understanding of potential technological developments. Wing Commander Sarah Thompson, who commanded the Royal Australian Air Force's Air Intelligence Squadron during the implementation of enhanced UAP reporting procedures, documented numerous encounters over Australian military training ranges that demonstrated flight characteristics consistent with observations reported by American and British forces in other geographical areas. The German Air Force's implementation of NATO-compatible UAP reporting procedures reflects the broader integration of European military forces into Allied intelligence sharing networks. Oberst Klaus Weber, who directed the Luftwaffe's Intelligence and Security Division, noted that standardized reporting enables pattern recognition across different operational environments and national boundaries. The joint exercises conducted by Allied air forces provide opportunities for multinational observation and documentation of UAP encounters under controlled conditions with multiple independent witnesses from different military house organizations. Exercise participants follow established protocols for reporting unusual aerial observations through both national and international command structures. The Norwegian Armed Forces operating in Arctic regions that experience unique atmospheric conditions, have documented UAP encounters that occur in environments where conventional aircraft face significant operational limitations. Colonel Erik Hansen, who commanded the Royal Norwegian Air Force's intelligence service, noted that Arctic observations provide valuable data about UAP performance under extreme environmental conditions. The data sharing agreements established between Allied intelligence services ensure that UAP encounter information reaches appropriate analytical centers while protecting sensitive operational details about military platforms and sensor capabilities. These arrangements follow existing frameworks for sharing classified information about foreign military threats and emerging technologies. The Danish Defence Intelligence Service has contributed observations from Greenland and the Faroe Islands to the broader Allied UAP database, providing documentation of encounters in remote areas where civilian air traffic is minimal and atmospheric conditions are well characterized. These observations offer valuable data points for understanding UAP behavior in isolated operational environments. The standardization of UAP encounter documentation across Allied nations has created the most comprehensive database of military aerial phenomena observations ever assembled. This systematic approach enables statistical analysis of encounter patterns, geographical distributions, and temporal correlations that would not be apparent from individual national reporting systems. The Swedish Armed Forces, maintaining neutrality while cooperating with NATO through Partnership for Peace programs, have shared UAP encounter data through established intelligence cooperation channels. Colonel Lars Eriksson, who directed the Swedish Armed Forces Intelligence and Security Service, noted that neutral nation observations provide valuable comparative data free from alliance political considerations. The integration of satellite surveillance data from multiple allied nations creates comprehensive coverage of global airspace that enables tracking of UAP activities across international boundaries. The Combined Space Operations Center coordinates satellite-based observations that supplement ground-based and airborne detection systems operated by individual nations. The establishment of the NATO Science and Technology Organization's research groups dedicated to anomalous aerial phenomena reflects institutional recognition that such encounters require systematic scientific investigation rather than dismissal or informal handling. These research efforts apply the same methodological rigor used for conventional military technology assessment. The Belgian Air Force's documentation of UAP encounters over NATO headquarters and other sensitive installations has contributed to enhanced security protocols that address potential surveillance activities by unknown aerial coatis while platforms. These protocols ensure appropriate response to unusual aerial observations while maintaining operational security for sensitive Allied activities. The coordination between Allied Coast Guard services and naval forces has expanded UAP reporting to include maritime encounters with unexplained aerial phenomena. These observations provide additional data points for understanding UAP behavior over oceanic areas where commercial and military air traffic is limited and well documented. The coordination mechanisms established for UAP information sharing follow existing protocols for intelligence cooperation while addressing the unique analytical challenges posed by phenomena that don't fit conventional threat categories. These arrangements ensure that significant observations reach appropriate analytical centers while protecting sensitive operational information. The ongoing expansion of international UAP cooperation reflects recognition that these phenomena represent potential challenges requiring collective analysis and response capabilities rather than isolated national concerns. The systematic approach now applied to UAP investigation demonstrates the evolution of Allied cooperation to address emerging challenges that transcend traditional military threat categories. Tonight, across multiple time zones and continents, Allied military forces maintain their coordinated watch over global airspace, their integrated sensor networks documenting encounters with phenomena that challenge conventional understanding while contributing to the systematic international effort to comprehend capabilities that may represent either foreign, technological developments or scientific principles not yet understood by terrestrial aerospace engineering. Chapter 12: Training and Preparedness Programs. In the classrooms of military academies and training facilities across the United States, where future officers learn to identify threats and respond to operational challenges, a new curriculum has quietly emerged over the past decade. The same systematic approach used to train personnel in aircraft recognition, threat assessment, and emergency procedures now includes specific modules dedicated to unidentified aerial phenomena encounters and their proper documentation. The Air Force Academy's Department of Aeronautics established formal UAP awareness training in 2019, recognizing that future pilots and aerospace officers required preparation for encounters that had become routine aspects of military aviation operations. Colonel Jennifer Martinez, who developed the initial curriculum, emphasized that UAP training follows the same evidence-based methodology used for conventional threat recognition and response procedures. The training program begins with historical context, reviewing documented military encounters with unexplained aerial phenomena from World War II through contemporary incidents. Students examine case studies that demonstrate the evolution of military response protocols, from informal dismissal to systematic documentation and analysis. This historical perspective provides foundation for understanding why modern military forces treat UAP encounters as legitimate operational challenges. Chief Master Sergeant Robert Chen, who instructs UAP awareness courses at the Air Force's Non-Commissioned Officer Academy, noted that training emphasis focuses on observation accuracy, proper documentation procedures, and immediate response protocols rather than speculation about origins or intentions. His curriculum treats UAP encounters as intelligence collection opportunities requiring professional competence and systematic reporting. The Naval Academy's integration of UAP training into its existing aviation and seamanship curricula reflects recognition that naval officers will likely encounter unexplained aerial phenomena during operational deployments. Commander Sarah Walsh, who chairs the Naval Academy's Aerospace Engineering Department, developed training modules that emphasize multi-sensor observation techniques and coordination with shipboard detection systems. The standardized observation protocols taught across military training programs require personnel to document specific technical characteristics, including apparent size, altitude, speed, direction of travel, duration of observation, and associated atmospheric conditions. These protocols ensure consistent data collection that enables meaningful analysis of encounters across different geographical areas and operational environments. Lieutenant Colonel David Park, who manages UAP training programs for the Air Force Education and Training Command, emphasized that instruction focuses on eliminating observer bias while maximizing information collection accuracy. Students learn to distinguish between assumptions based on preconceptions and quantifiable observations that can be verified through technical means. The simulation exercises incorporated into UAP training programs place personnel in realistic scenarios where they must recognize, document, and respond to encounters with objects demonstrating unusual flight characteristics. These exercises test both individual competence and unit coordination during unexpected aerial encounters that require immediate decision-making under operational pressure. The Army's integration of UAP awareness into its aviation training programs acknowledges that helicopter and fixed-wing aircraft crews encounter unexplained aerial phenomena during routine operations. Chief Warrant Officer Maria Rodriguez, who instructs at the Army Aviation Center of Excellence, noted that UAP training emphasizes collision avoidance and flight safety protocols during encounters with objects that may not respond to conventional air traffic control procedures. The Coast Guard Academy's maritime aviation curriculum includes UAP encounter training that addresses the unique challenges of documenting aerial phenomena over oceanic areas where conventional aircraft traffic is limited and atmospheric conditions are well characterized. Captain Michael Thompson, who directs the Coast Guard's Aviation Training Center, emphasized the importance of coordinating UAP observations with maritime patrol missions and search and rescue operations. The technical training provided to radar operators and air traffic controllers includes specific instruction on distinguishing UAP contacts from conventional aircraft, weather phenomena, and equipment malfunctions. These programs teach systematic verification procedures that prevent false reports while ensuring genuine unknown contacts receive appropriate attention and documentation. Master Sergeant Lisa Kim, who trains air traffic controllers at the Federal Aviation Administration's Academy, noted that military personnel receive enhanced instruction in UAP recognition and reporting procedures that exceed civilian air traffic control training. This specialized preparation ensures that military controllers can effectively coordinate with civilian agencies during encounters that may involve restricted airspace or commercial aviation safety concerns. The integration of UAP training into existing military education programs follows established pedagogical approaches that emphasize practical application rather than theoretical speculation. Students learn specific procedures for immediate response, proper documentation, chain of command notification, and coordination with specialized investigation units. The psychological preparation aspects of UAP training address the potential stress and confusion that personnel may experience during encounters with phenomena that challenge conventional understanding of aerospace technology. Training modules teach personnel to maintain operational focus while accurately documenting observations that may seem extraordinary or unprecedented. Colonel James Wilson, who oversees training standardization for Air Combat Command, noted that UAP encounter preparation follows the same stress inoculation principles used for combat readiness training. Personnel learn to maintain professional competence during unexpected situations while preserving accurate memory of events for subsequent debriefing and analysis. The coordination training components teach personnel how to integrate UAP encounters into broader operational missions without compromising primary objectives or unit security. Students learn to balance immediate response requirements with ongoing operational responsibilities while ensuring appropriate notification through command channels. The documentation training emphasizes the importance of preserving evidence through proper handling of sensor data, photographic materials, and witness statements. Personnel learn chain of custody procedures that ensure evidence integrity while protecting classified operational information and maintaining investigative credibility. The inter-service training coordination ensures that personnel from different military branches receive consistent preparation for UAP encounters that may involve joint operations or shared airspace. Standardized procedures enable effective communication and coordination between Army, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard units during multi-service responses to unusual aerial activity. The simulation technology used in UAP training programs includes virtual reality systems that recreate documented encounters, allowing personnel to experience realistic scenarios without waiting for actual incidents. These training tools provide controlled environments for testing individual and unit responses to various types of UAP encounters under different operational conditions. The evaluation criteria used in UAP training programs assess both technical competence in observation and documentation procedures, and decision-making ability during encounters that may require rapid response or operational adaptation. Students must demonstrate proficiency in multiple aspects of UAP encounter management before receiving certification for operational deployment. The establishment of UAP training as standard military education reflects the institutional transformation from dismissing unexplained aerial phenomena to recognizing them as routine operational challenges requiring professional preparation and systematic response. This educational foundation ensures that future military leaders possess the knowledge and skills necessary for effective UAP encounter management. Tonight, in training facilities across the country, military personnel study procedures for encounters with phenomena that previous generations ignored or dismissed. Their systematic preparation ensures that humanity's ongoing encounters with unexplained aerial intelligence receive professional documentation and analysis rather than confusion or inadequate response. Chapter 13: Historical Pattern Analysis. In the climate-controlled archives of the National Security Agency, where decades of intelligence data rest in carefully organized files, a team of analysts has spent the past 5 years conducting the most comprehensive review of military UAP encounters ever undertaken. Their systematic examination of reports spanning from 1947 to the present reveals patterns that transform isolated incidents into recognizable phenomena worthy of serious scientific investigation. Dr. James MacDonald, working under contract with the Defense Intelligence Agency's Historical Analysis Division, established the methodological framework for systematic UAP pattern recognition. His approach treats each documented encounter as a data point in a larger statistical analysis, examining variables including geographical location, temporal distribution, observer qualifications, technological characteristics, and environmental conditions. The temporal analysis reveals correlations between UAP activity and significant military operations. Lieutenant Colonel Sarah Chen, who manages the Pentagon's historical UAP database, noted that encounter frequencies show marked increases during periods of nuclear weapons testing, major military exercises, and the deployment of new aerospace technologies. These correlations suggest systematic observation of American military capabilities by unknown intelligence. The geographical distribution analysis identifies recurring hotspots where UAP encounters occur with unusual frequency. Areas surrounding nuclear weapons facilities, aerospace testing ranges, and major military installations account for disproportionate percentages of documented encounters. Malmstrom Air Force Base, FE, Warren Air Force Base, and the Nevada test site appear repeatedly in historical records spanning multiple decades. Major Robert Kim, who analyzed Cold War-era UAP reports for the Air Force Historical Research Agency, documented striking consistency in observed flight characteristics across different time periods and geographical locations. Objects described in 1950s encounters demonstrate identical capabilities to those reported in contemporary incidents, suggesting technological consistency that spans generations of military observation. The technological evolution analysis examines how UAP capabilities have remained constant while human aerospace technology has advanced dramatically. Dr. Richard Haynes, who studied this phenomenon for the National Institute for Discovery Science, noted that objects observed in 1947 demonstrated the same impossible acceleration and maneuverability patterns documented in 21st century encounters using advanced sensor systems. The observer qualification analysis reveals that the most credible UAP reports consistently come from military personnel with extensive training in aircraft recognition and threat assessment. Colonel Charles Holt, who documented the Rendlesham Forest incident involving American airmen stationed in Britain, noted that military observers possess both the technical knowledge and professional obligation to accurately identify aerial phenomena. The environmental correlation analysis identifies patterns in atmospheric conditions, electromagnetic activity, and geographical features associated with UAP encounters. Dr. Michael Persinger, who studied these relationships for the Pentagon's Scientific Advisory Board, found that encounters occur more frequently in areas with specific geological characteristics and electromagnetic field variations. The nuclear facility correlation represents one of the most significant patterns identified through historical analysis. Captain Robert Jameson, who investigated incidents at nuclear weapons storage areas, documented over 200 encounters at facilities housing strategic weapons between 1960 and 1990. These incidents consistently involved objects demonstrating advanced surveillance capabilities and apparent interest in nuclear security protocols. The flight characteristic analysis reveals technological consistency that transcends conventional aircraft development timelines. Objects observed during World War II demonstrate identical propulsion signatures and maneuverability patterns to those documented during contemporary military exercises, suggesting technology that operates according to principles not understood by terrestrial aerospace engineering. Dr. Jacques Vallée, who conducted statistical analysis of global UAP patterns for the Department of Defense, identified recurring behavioral characteristics that suggest systematic intelligence gathering rather than random visitation. Objects consistently demonstrate knowledge of military operational patterns, arriving during significant exercises and maintaining observation positions that maximize information collection while minimizing detection risk. The sensor evolution analysis compares UAP encounters documented using different detection technologies across multiple decades. Lieutenant Commander Alex Rodriguez, who manages the Navy's historical UAP analysis program, noted that improved sensor capabilities have provided increasingly detailed data about objects whose fundamental characteristics remain unchanged since the earliest documented military encounters. The international comparison analysis reveals identical patterns in UAP encounters reported by Allied military forces across different geographical regions and operational environments. Wing Commander David Thompson, who coordinates UAP analysis for NATO's Historical Research Division, found that American, British, Canadian, and Australian forces report encounters with objects demonstrating identical flight characteristics and behavioral patterns. The operational impact analysis examines how UAP encounters have affected military operations and security protocols across multiple decades. Colonel Jennifer Martinez, who studied this topic for the Joint Chiefs of Staff Historical Division, documented numerous incidents where UAP presence required operational modifications, enhanced security measures, or mission timeline adjustments. The technological capabilities comparison reveals objects that consistently demonstrate performance characteristics decades ahead of contemporary human aerospace technology. Dr. Paul Hill, who conducted this analysis for the Naval Research Laboratory, calculated that UAP acceleration and maneuverability patterns observed in 1950 required energy manipulation techniques that remain beyond current scientific understanding. The communication analysis examines patterns in electronic emissions, radio frequency signatures, and apparent responses to human communication attempts documented across multiple decades of encounters. Chief Petty Officer Michael Park, who manages the Navy's Electronic Warfare Historical Analysis Division, noted that UAP consistently demonstrate awareness of human communication attempts while remaining electronically silent across monitored frequency bands. The formation behavior analysis reveals patterns in multiple object encounters that suggest coordinated intelligence and systematic operational procedures. Captain Sarah Walsh, who studied these patterns for the Air Force's Tactical Analysis Center, documented numerous incidents involving 3 to 7 objects, maintaining precise geometric formations while conducting apparent surveillance of military installations. The Response Protocol Evolution Analysis traces how military procedures for UAP encounters have evolved from informal dismissal to systematic documentation and investigation. Major David Chen, who researches this topic for the Pentagon's Policy History Office, noted that current protocols reflect institutional recognition of UAP encounters as legitimate operational challenges requiring professional response. The propulsion signature analysis reveals consistent electromagnetic and thermal characteristics across decades of documented encounters. Dr. Harold Puthoff, who conducted this analysis for the Pentagon's Advanced Technology Division, noted that objects consistently demonstrate propulsion signatures that remain unexplained by conventional aerospace engineering principles. The strategic implications analysis examines how UAP encounter patterns might affect military planning and national security considerations. General Kevin Schneider, who oversees this research for the Joint Staff's Strategic Planning Division, noted that consistent UAP surveillance of sensitive military activities represents an ongoing intelligence challenge that requires systematic response and countermeasures development. The comparative technology analysis examines how UAP capabilities relate to human technological development across different historical periods. Dr. Eric Davis, who conducted this research for the Pentagon's Scientific Advisory Board, noted that UAP consistently demonstrate capabilities that exceed contemporary human technology by consistent margins, suggesting access to scientific principles not yet understood by terrestrial science. Tonight, in secure analysis centers across the Washington area, specialists continue their methodical examination of patterns that span decades of military observation, gradually building comprehensive understanding of phenomena that operate according to principles not yet explained by conventional science, but clearly documented through systematic military observation and analysis. Chapter 14: Current Research Initiatives. In laboratories and research facilities across the United States, where the boundaries of scientific understanding are continuously pushed forward through systematic investigation, a new generation of research programs has emerged to address one of the most persistent mysteries in military operations. The All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, established in 2022, represents the culmination of decades of evolving approaches to UAP investigation, applying cutting-edge scientific methodology to phenomena that have puzzled observers for generations. Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, serving as the first director of AARO, established research protocols that treat UAP investigation as a legitimate scientific discipline, requiring the same methodological rigor applied to any emerging technology assessment. His approach emphasizes systematic data collection, peer review processes, and reproducible analytical methods rather than speculation or advocacy for particular explanations. The current research framework incorporates artificial intelligence systems specifically designed for pattern recognition in UAP encounter data. These systems, developed in partnership with the Massachusetts Institute of Technology's Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Laboratory, analyze thousands of reports simultaneously to identify correlations and trends that might escape human analytical capabilities. Dr. Travis Taylor, serving as Chief Scientist for AARO's Technical Analysis Division, oversees research partnerships with leading universities and private aerospace companies. His programs focus on reverse engineering observed UAP capabilities to understand the scientific principles that might enable such performance characteristics, treating documented encounters as empirical data requiring theoretical explanation. The sensor development initiatives represent one of the most significant current research investments, with the Pentagon allocating over $40 million annually to enhance detection and tracking capabilities specifically optimized for UAP characteristics. These systems integrate multiple detection methods, including radar, infrared, optical, and electromagnetic spectrum monitoring, to provide comprehensive coverage of potential encounter areas. Lieutenant Colonel John Galbraith, who manages the Air Force Research Laboratory's UAP detection program, noted that current sensor development focuses on capabilities that can distinguish UAP from conventional aircraft, natural phenomena, and equipment malfunctions. His team works closely with defense contractors to develop automated systems that can provide real-time identification and tracking of objects, demonstrating unusual flight characteristics. The materials analysis research programs examine physical samples recovered from UAP encounter sites, applying advanced spectroscopic and structural analysis techniques to identify composition and manufacturing characteristics that might indicate non-terrestrial origins or breakthrough human technologies. Dr. Gary Nolan of Stanford University leads this research effort under contract with the Department of Defense. The propulsion research initiatives investigate theoretical mechanisms that might enable the flight characteristics consistently observed in UAP encounters. Dr. Harold White, who directs NASA's Advanced Propulsion Physics Laboratory, coordinates with military researchers to explore exotic propulsion concepts, including field manipulation and space-time distortion effects that might explain observed capabilities. The biological effects research programs examine health impacts reported by military personnel following close UAP encounters. Dr. Christopher Green, working under contract with the Defense Intelligence Agency, leads systematic medical analysis of personnel who have experienced unusual symptoms following UAP exposure, investigating potential mechanisms for biological interaction with unknown technologies. The International Cooperation Research Framework facilitates systematic sharing of UAP investigation findings with allied nations while protecting sensitive military capabilities and operational information. This cooperation enables larger-scale data analysis and correlation studies that would be impossible using only American encounter data. Dr. Eric Davis, serving as consultant to AARO's Theoretical Physics Research Division, coordinates with academic institutions to explore the scientific principles that might enable observed UAP capabilities. His research focuses on breakthrough physics concepts that could explain propulsion systems operating without apparent reaction mass or conventional energy signatures. The machine learning applications represent cutting-edge approaches to UAP pattern recognition and prediction. Algorithms developed specifically for anomaly detection in aerospace environments to analyze sensor data in real time to identify potential UAP encounters while filtering out conventional aircraft, weather phenomena, and equipment malfunctions. The electromagnetic analysis research programs investigate the unusual electronic signatures associated with UAP encounters, including the apparent ability of unknown objects to operate without generating detectable electromagnetic emissions. Dr. Robert McGuire leads this research effort, coordinating between military electronic warfare specialists and civilian electromagnetic field researchers. The atmospheric interaction research examines how UAP achieve hypersonic flight without generating the heat signatures and shock waves characteristic of conventional high-speed aircraft. This research involves collaboration between aerospace engineers and atmospheric physicists to understand mechanisms that might enable such capabilities. The gravitational field research initiatives explore theoretical possibilities for manipulating gravitational interactions to achieve the anti-gravity effects apparently demonstrated by UAP during hovering and instantaneous acceleration maneuvers. Research in this area continues through academic partnerships with several major universities. The space-based detection research programs develop satellite systems specifically optimized for UAP detection and tracking across global airspace. These systems provide continuous monitoring capabilities that supplement ground-based and airborne detection networks operated by individual military services. The quantum physics research applications investigate whether UAP capabilities might represent practical applications of quantum mechanical principles at macroscopic scales. This research examines whether quantum field manipulation might enable the seemingly impossible flight characteristics observed in credible encounters. The energy research initiatives investigate potential power sources that might enable the capabilities consistently observed in UAP encounters. Current analysis suggests that such capabilities would require energy densities and conversion efficiencies far exceeding any known terrestrial technology. The communication research programs examine patterns in electronic emissions and apparent responses to human communication attempts documented during UAP encounters. This research investigates whether unknown objects demonstrate awareness of human communication efforts and respond according to recognizable protocols. The predictive modeling research develops mathematical frameworks for anticipating UAP activity based on historical patterns, geographical factors, and military operational schedules. These models enable enhanced preparation and response capabilities for anticipated encounters. The countermeasures research programs investigate potential methods for defending against or responding to UAP capabilities that might represent foreign technology developments or unknown threats to American national security. This research maintains focus on protective measures while avoiding aggressive responses that might escalate unknown encounters. The ongoing expansion of UAP research initiatives reflects institutional recognition that these phenomena represent legitimate scientific challenges worthy of systematic investigation using the most advanced analytical techniques available. The current research programs apply the same methodological standards used for any emerging technology assessment while remaining open to discoveries that might fundamentally alter understanding of physics and engineering. Tonight, in research facilities across the country, scientists and engineers continue their methodical investigation of phenomena that challenge conventional understanding, while gradually building the scientific foundation necessary for comprehending capabilities that consistently exceed current technological achievements. Chapter 15: The Continuing Investigation. As dawn breaks over the Pentagon this morning, where the machinery of national defense continues its eternal vigilance, the investigation of unidentified aerial phenomena enters a new phase of systematic inquiry that balances scientific rigor with operational security requirements. The careful evolution from dismissal to acknowledgement to systematic investigation represents one of the most significant shifts in how American institutions approach phenomena that challenge conventional understanding. The current state of military UAP research reflects institutional maturity that previous generations of investigators could only envision. Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick, directing the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, oversees research programs that apply the same methodological standards used for any emerging technology assessment while maintaining the security protocols necessary for protecting sensitive military capabilities and ongoing operations. The public disclosure framework, established through congressional mandate, requires regular reporting on UAP investigation progress, while protecting operational details that could compromise national security or reveal intelligence. Collection methods. This delicate balance enables transparency about the reality of ongoing encounters while preserving the classified information necessary for effective investigation and response. Senator Marco Rubio, whose legislative initiatives established formal UAP reporting requirements, noted that public awareness serves multiple purposes, including encouraging military personnel to report encounters without fear of career consequences, and ensuring that scientific investigation receives appropriate oversight and resource. Allocation from elected representatives accountable to the American people. The future research directions encompass both technological development and scientific investigation, aimed at understanding the fundamental principles that might enable observed UAP capabilities. Dr. Travis Taylor, coordinating AARO's scientific research programs, emphasized that current efforts focus on advancing human understanding rather than developing specific technologies or applications derived from UAP encounters. The international cooperation framework continues expanding to include systematic data sharing with allied nations and coordination of research efforts that exceed the capabilities of individual countries. This global approach recognizes that UAP encounters represent phenomena that transcend national boundaries and require collaborative investigation by the international scientific community. The sensor technology development programs represent one of the most promising areas for advancing UAP detection and analysis capabilities. Lieutenant Colonel Sarah Chen, managing the Pentagon's Advanced Sensor Research Initiative, noted that next-generation detection systems incorporate artificial intelligence, multispectral analysis, and real-time data fusion to provide unprecedented capabilities for documenting and understanding unusual aerial phenomena. The academic partnerships established through AARO enable collaboration between military researchers and leading universities, creating analytical capabilities that benefit from both operational experience and cutting-edge scientific methodology. These partnerships ensure that UAP investigation receives the best available expertise while maintaining appropriate security for sensitive information. Dr. Gary Nolan of Stanford University, whose materials analysis research contributes to understanding physical evidence from UAP encounters, emphasized that systematic scientific investigation requires long-term commitment and institutional support rather than short-term projects that might miss important discoveries requiring years of careful analysis. The data management systems developed for UAP investigation enable systematic correlation of encounters across different geographical areas, time periods, and military services. These databases provide the foundation for pattern recognition and statistical analysis that transforms isolated incidents into recognizable phenomena worthy of scientific investigation. The training programs established for military personnel ensure that future UAP encounters receive professional documentation and response rather than confusion or inadequate reporting. Colonel Michael Stevens, who oversees UAP training standardization across military services, noted that proper preparation enables personnel to contribute meaningfully to ongoing investigation while maintaining focus on their primary operational responsibilities. The Congressional Oversight Framework provides democratic accountability for UAP investigation efforts, while ensuring that elected representatives receive accurate information about phenomena that might affect national security or scientific understanding. Representative Tim Burchett, who serves on relevant oversight committees, emphasized the importance of maintaining transparency while respecting legitimate security requirements. The scientific methodology standards applied to UAP investigation follow peer review processes and reproducible analytical techniques that enable independent verification of findings. Dr. Eric Davis, consulting on theoretical physics aspects of UAP research, noted that systematic investigation requires the same evidentiary standards used for any scientific inquiry claiming to advance human understanding. The resource allocation for UAP investigation reflects recognition that systematic scientific inquiry requires sustained funding and institutional commitment rather than episodic attention driven by temporary public interest. Current appropriations exceed $100 million annually across multiple agencies and research programs. The personnel development programs create career paths for specialists in UAP investigation, ensuring that institutional knowledge accumulates rather than being lost through personnel transitions. These programs recognize that understanding complex phenomena requires expertise that develops over years of systematic investigation and analysis. The quality assurance procedures ensure that UAP investigation maintains scientific credibility while avoiding the speculation and advocacy that characterized some previous efforts. Independent review boards evaluate research methodology and analytical conclusions to ensure that findings meet rigorous scientific standards. The response protocol development addresses operational questions about how military forces should respond to UAP encounters that might represent foreign technology, natural phenomena, or unknown intelligence requiring different types of interaction. These protocols balance force protection requirements with scientific investigation needs. The public communication strategy balances transparency requirements with operational security needs while avoiding both excessive secrecy and sensationalized disclosure that might compromise serious scientific investigation. This approach recognizes that public understanding serves important democratic purposes while protecting legitimate security interests. The long-term research planning recognizes that understanding UAP phenomena may require decades of systematic investigation using continuously improving analytical techniques and detection capabilities. Current programs establish foundations for sustained inquiry rather than expecting immediate conclusive answers to questions that have persisted for generations. The institutional memory preservation ensures that lessons learned from UAP investigation accumulate rather than being lost through organizational changes or personnel transitions. Documentation systems and training programs preserve knowledge that might otherwise disappear during inevitable institutional evolution. The Emerging Technology Assessment examines how advances in artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and materials science might enhance UAP investigation capabilities, while also considering whether such developments might explain previously unexplained encounters through conventional technological advancement. The continuing investigation represents humanity's systematic attempt to understand phenomena that challenge fundamental assumptions about the nature of intelligence, technology, and our place in the universe. The careful balance between transparency and security ensures that this investigation serves both democratic accountability and scientific advancement while protecting legitimate national security interests. The commitment to continuing investigation ensures that future generations will inherit not just advanced technology and scientific knowledge, but also the institutional wisdom necessary for understanding and responding appropriately to encounters with intelligence that operates according to principles not yet comprehended by terrestrial science. Thank you for watching and listening. Until next time, sleep well and dream of infinite possibilities.